From now on you shall be fishers of men. Is this not the call of the Christian? The analogy of the mission of discipleship and evangelism being equated so closely to that of fishermen and their task is not accidental. However, to begin this mission, Christ first had to catch some fishermen, and this would be no easy task. First of all, we're told Simon Peter, James, and John had been up all night trying to catch even the smallest catch of fish. Having no success, one can imagine the colorful thoughts and perhaps language that would be expressed between angry and sleep-deprived fishermen now that it was daytime and the sun was beating down upon them from above. And now, this strange and enigmatic teacher had thrust himself into their boat and asked them to row out a little ways from shore so that he could teach to gathering masses. And not only did he prevail upon them to do this task, but even further, he bid them to row out a little bit further into the deep and begin fishing once more. Now I'll tell you that fishermen and their reputation for being a cantankerous and pithy bunch is well earned, and it varies little from century to century. It's hard, back-breaking work. It's dangerous. So often the sea claims the man who even momentarily lets down his guard and drags him down into its watery and silent depths. But in this instant, these three fishermen acquiesced, and they rowed out and did as Christ instructed. And lo and behold, a magnificent bounty was given to the obedient fishermen, so much so that their nets and indeed their boats could barely contain them. Simon Peter, realizing the nature of what is occurring, is convicted within himself of his great sinfulness. He bids the Lord to depart from him because he considers himself unworthy to be in his presence. Little did he know the incredible mission that he was to be called into. Peter confesses his sinfulness, but Christ at that moment seems rather unconcerned. He tells him, "Fear not." You see, Christ sees into Peter's heart and knows fully each and every sin dwelling there. But Christ also knows by Peter's own confession that he has already repented and has resolved not to repeat the sins of his past. St. Bede, the great 7th century saint of the British Isles, said that the Lord soothes the fears of the unspiritual man so that no man need to be fearful in conscience because of his own past guilt, or, confounded at the sight of innocence of others, be discouraged in setting out himself on the road to sanctity. Christ loves us all, and regardless of our past sins and offenses, wants us all to turn humbly to him. About sins confessed and repented, Christ is unconcerned. And so the mission being set, the best persons for the job are found to be fishermen. The fisherman becomes the icon of the evangelist, and the mission is to cast those nets out far and into the deepest depths of where men dwell. It matters not how deeply they are mired in their sinfulness. It matters not about the severity of their own sins. It matters that they are brought into the net of salvation and brought into the ship, which is the church herself, the ark of salvation. Fishermen do not discriminate as to which fish they catch in our nets, and we, fishers of men, should do no differently. Our jobs as fishers of men is to teach all from the sure deposit of the faith that has been handed down to us, adding nothing to, nor taking anything away from it. We are to ferry those whom we catch in our net of the gospel safely from the seas of perdition onto the dry land of the far and distant shore of the land of promise. St. Gregory the theologian writes that the fishers are the teachers of the church, who catch us in the net of faith, and as it were, bring us to the shore, to the land of the living. This is an undeniable truth. Wisdom, let us attend. Now, in seeing and hearing all of this unfold, some may ask, who are the evangelists of the faith now? Is it the clergy? Well, perhaps. But much more so, it is the calling of all Orthodox Christians. It's my job, as well as yours, regardless of where you are on the journey towards theosis. We have not been chosen because we are worthy. The choice of Simon Peter, as well as others by Christ, illustrates this very fact. We have not been chosen because of any significant strength or talent. God chooses the seemingly weak and often the least to accomplish his greatest works upon the earth. Hence, in our weakness, he is glorified. He supplies that which is needed when it is needed, and he is faithful to provide a word at the moment it needs to be said. Let your example be not from your own will, but in obedience to the will of God, which is being manifest in your own life. Do not hesitate to take the step out on the limb of your own uncertainty. It is where our reasoning fails us that God's truth takes over. This is the tool that we need in order to set out into the deep waters of this world's fallenness, to retrieve those who may be in the deepest depths of hopelessness, and give them hope. So, let us set out together, you and I, yet just a little farther out than we are now, and let us cast out our nets, the net that gathers in. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit.